Hello, welcome to Crypto Insights, where we teach you about crypto. My name is Thomas and I'm the host of this channel. In this video, I will interview Gilson da Costa, who is one of the co-founders of Virtual Assets Forensic Compliance. They basically know everything about transactions and they help wealthy individuals to cash out on their crypto. So they make reports ready to be submitted to banks. So banks know that you're not laundering money and you're really compliant with all the rules that need to take place in order for you to cash out your crypto at once. So with all of that said, let's jump into this week's video. Hi, Gilson. Thank you for joining this chat, because what you're doing is something very specific and you already have your company presented on your background, so the Virtual Assets Forensic Compliance. And I would really like to know more. So could you give a brief introduction about yourself?
Oh, yeah. Thank you very much for having me to start. Pleasure to be here and to help your listeners to trying to understand a little bit more about the crypto space. So Virtual Forensics, it's a company I started about a year ago. We mainly focus on forensic intelligence, crypto compliance as a service. So the initial idea basically was to help people that have done very well in crypto to cash out. As you might know, I was to be a banker myself in the traditional space. Banks don't really understand people coming from crypto. And I came across in a lot of instances that there was a lot of people that were crypto rich, fiat poor, as I like to call it. And I felt there was a gap there for us to step in for both individuals and also for companies. So both if you are an entity, and we help a lot of them that deals in blockchain, NFTs, crypto. If you go to a bank and say, I want to open an account, they say, what did you do? Oh, I'm in NFTs. Straight the compliance officer will say, okay. There's a risk there. I don't really understand and how funds are generated, so on. So therefore, we like not to get involved. And we are able to help with that. And we have helped a lot of entities in this space to be able to have accounts just to run their day-to-day business, pay salaries, and so on.
So what you basically do is you make all the transactions transparent. So you can actually prove these are the actual capital gains. That's what you do, right?
Yeah, if you want to put in that traditional way, yes. We can show what are actual capital gains, how these were achieved, and we can also show that, as an example, they have been achieved in a legitimate way, as you have not dealt with or been exposed either in a direct or indirect way to, as an example, I don't know, stolen funds or a wallet that is sanctioned by OFAC or being used in a mixer to try to hide some, I don't know, stolen funds or something to be involved in some sort of scam. Yeah, we can do all that.
Okay, so that's actually, so your clients are either companies, individuals, but it can also be law firms that are really doing research in scams, right?
Correct, and in different things as well. So you could be law firms. We actually got a case recently where we actually helped a law firm. It was a little bit different in terms, not a scam, but someone that was actually going through a divorce. And they wanted to understand from one of the parties if he was being truthful concerning the holdings that he said that he had in certain wallet. Because we are able to build a relationship in the blockchain, then we could clearly see that the wallet that this individual claimed to have that had some holdings showed that he was talking to a lot of different wallets. And this wallet, he had dispersed fairly large amounts of crypto to this wallet. So then the law firm was able to go back to him and say, there are two questions here, which one either is extremely nice gentleman that is giving money for free, or most likely you actually own these wallets and you were just hiding them. So then very quickly, then he was able to say, yeah, these are my wallets. And then he had to declare those other wallets as well. And then obviously they could then see the truth amount of crypto he actually had under his possession.
So currently it's three types of clients. Regarding their net worth or the amount of crypto that they have, is there a minimum requirement to work with you? I mean, you obviously have your fees. Is there like a minimum required that is necessary to work with you?
Not necessarily a minimum requirement, but obviously these obviously we have software, so we are a data aggregator, so we use different type of data from different providers, open source, blockchain, crypto compliance providers, OFAC, as I mentioned, dark web, kind of all in one front. So all this, there are costs to it. So normally we keep it to a minimum of around the million, because to be honest, anything below that is not that we would not work with you, and we have done in specific cases, but it's just that it's probably not worth the costs for you to be able to do that. And also, in my experience, is that when you have smaller holdings, you probably could do the work yourself. If you know what I mean, like, you could probably quite quickly explain how you got this kind of amounts. So it normally would be those around the 1 million mark. I would say it's what we mainly see from our clients, basically. But a lot of clients have way more than.
Okay, so let's take an example. Like, I want to cash out. I indeed have 1 million that I earned through NFTs, through farming, through staking, through trading. What are the requirements? What do you need from me to start working on my case?
As an individual,
Yes.
we would probably get obviously your wallet, right? Your wallet address, so we'll be able to start the investigation. Then we do some sort of an estimation and tell you this is how much it's going to take us to actually create this report for you. We divide it into things. We can actually produce the report and just give it to you, and then you can yourself go to a bank and trying to do this same cash out, or you can leverage our network. Like I mentioned before, I was a banker for many years, Credit Suisse, JP Morgan, those kind of banks. So I have managed to create a lot of relationships during that time. So I leveraged a lot of that, and this was part of why I started the company. Also, Jose, which is my chief operating officer, is also a banker. So together we have quite a strong network. So a lot of the times with our clients, we take them through the full process. To answer your question more directly, what I need from you, we build a quite extensive report. So it starts from the normal kind of KYC requirement documents like copy of passport, so on. And then we probably will try to understand a little thing in terms of, like, as an example, why did you actually start to invest in crypto? We would go also look a little bit about your history, work history, in terms of how you actually were able to fund this account, because these are questions that the bank will interest to know. So the bank was trying really to build a profile on who you are, not just necessarily explain that your crypto is clean, but explain who you are as a person, why you are trustworthy, why the bank shouldn't really be concerned in terms of a risk profile on you. It should be quite low. Therefore, it should be okay to accept you as a client.
Okay, I didn't know that. So you're obviously, you have a lot of experience in banking. Is there any additional certificates or licenses that you hold that makes you a valuable person in this new space?
So I have a certification with one of the main crypto blockchain kind of providers. With them, without naming them, they're actually someone that we are also in the process of signing an agreement as a partner. So this is one of the people that we get our data from. So that will be one of the things. And our analysts that actually do the report. So I started to do that, but I don't do that so much these days. It's more on the analyst team. And those guys, they also have these kind of qualifications. Not only that, and you might find this to be weird, but they actually, one of them, the main one, she's actually an accountant by trade as well, because this is actually something that is really important when you try to calculate someone that's been trading up and down in terms of capital gains, as you mentioned in the beginning, to actually make sure that everything adds up. And as an example, you come to me and you say, I have 100 million and I want this to cash out. Then when I'm trying to build this kind of forensic experience and show you the ins and outs of different exchanges as you trade, either staking, lending, farming, whatever you've been doing, accounting comes very, very handy.
Yes, I can understand. So back to the process, let's say. Do you use any specific software? Do you have your own software? Do you use open source software? Do you use certain scanners? Could you tell us a little bit about your magical ingredients, let's say?
So we use different. So open source, as you mentioned, open blockchain, crypto data, data from crypto compliance providers, all facts, national list, dark web. So data we source from many, many, many areas. Then it's about how you treat the data. Then we treat this data under our own service, under a front end that we create. So, and this is unique. So it allows you to have a view of everything just in one place. We have our own risk matrix as well as own created by us in-house, because some of these data providers, they might look at a decentralized exchange and say, this is high risk. Another one might say, I don't agree, this is severe risk. Or another one would say, it's medium risk. Probably not, but it's going to be between the high and the severe. But I don't necessarily, this might be a better example of decentralized exchange, I'm not necessarily agree with this all the time. There'll be my decentralized exchanges that, or even non-regulated, as an example, Binance. Binance is non-regulated in a lot. Okay, they are getting a lot of regulation or regulation approvals, at least in a lot of places, or principle of approvals. So some place people will say Binance is risky because people don't know this. Binance doesn't scan all the trading pairs they have, and almost any they do very small due diligence, and almost anyone can get a coin into Binance. If you talk to the right people, you fill some sort of criteria, you're in. Saying this, so I guess that that's why I say that, like, it's important that we have our own risk score and we don't rely on these people. We take the data, we treat the data, and then we apply our own risk score. Because it's important for me as well that you don't get penalized for. There's some blockchains, for example, you could have, you could have exposure to some coins. And then necessarily, as you know, in crypto, I can't stop you sending me something. As long as I have your address, I can send you something. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are trying to do something illicit. It just means that I had access to your address, as simple as that. So therefore, I want to make sure that our rich matrix reflects this as an example. If you are, I would consider it to be more risky if you are directly sending to someone stolen funds, as an example. But you have received stolen funds, as an example, and it's been 3 or 4 transactions down, so you've been indirectly through someone, and then you went to an exchange, say Binance, as an example, and then it comes to you, then that's the kind of occasions where I would like to be able to make my own risk score on that.
Okay, so you're talking about your own risk score, but is it also possible to use software to see whether a wallet was used in a hack or in a scam? Is there software that gives like an error or an alert message like, hey, this wallet has...
Oh yeah, 100%. 100%. There's many software providers that can give you this. This is well known worldwide. You know, this is the kind of softwares, and we use some of these softwares. Let's put it this way, I don't actually use the software, but I use the data. Because the valuable thing here is the data, is the tagging of the wallets on the net. That's, as you mentioned, if you want to see if a wallet has been used for a hack or a theft, yes, there are many tools that allow you to do this. Today, trace the wallet, see where one transaction went to the other one. And a lot of times, and you can see this in the media very recently, normally these wallets are identified as soon as the people have to go into a centralized exchange, then they have to provide some sort of KYC, then that's when normally authorities identify the actors, and that's normally when they're caught. And there's been a recent example, I believe it was in New York about 4 months ago, of some funds that had been stolen years ago, and someone just sat on those. And then at some point, you actually remember seeing on the news, like on a Monday, saying that, oh, the stolen funds that were sitting on this wallet for years have just moved. And at the time, I remember thinking, and everybody in the community was excited, oh my God, like the hackers are moving the funds. But then at the end of the week, when we saw in the same news that people have been arrested, we noticed that actually who made that movement was actually the FBI. They were moving the funds from the hacker's wallet into the government wallet. So yes, to answer your question, there are many tools today that can very quickly let you know, I take your wallet, I'll put it somewhere, and it will tell you, you know, there's sort of a level of animosity on crypto for sure that hasn't changed until now. But nevertheless, once you probably go into a centralized exchange, once you look at this KYC, I probably will have to know. I will know then who you are.
So you just stated that, just to understand correctly, did you state that a centralized exchange, once somebody is depositing a cryptocurrency that came from a hack or a scam, they can flag it?
They can flag it because those coins will be tainted, right? Okay. So because as the moment as those coins are stolen, there will be the blockchain, these same providers will mark it. They'll say, okay, this wallet containing these funds has just had a bunch of, and in the blockchain, everything is traceable, right? Well, most blockchains. So you can then see the movements, you can see all the movements. So therefore, yes, you might lose traceability of some, but there's always some level of taintedness in those coins that you should be able to identify. And this could be from a 0.0001% to a bigger amount, like 50%, whatever it might be. But yeah, in general, you are always able to trace these things and to see where they're moving, where they're going. And like I said, eventually, when people do try to cash out, and then they have to normally go to the normal centralized exchange because those are the ones that are connected to the banks, then that's what. And there's other ways of cashing out in the outside world. But then even for those other people that are probably taking your coins over, they will have faced some sort of issues at some point.
Then as a final question, so if people would like to know more about you, how can they reach out to you? Do you have like Twitter? Do you have LinkedIn? I know, like, how can they reach out to you?
Yeah, we have a Twitter account for VAF, and I can share it with you, and maybe you can share it on here after. Definitely the LinkedIn, so VAF compliance, that's probably where we are most active. We are actually trying to build a Twitter. Those are the main channels, I'd say, that you can find us on our own website, of course, vaf.global, and you can always get in touch with us and contact us. And of course, if they don't remember one of those, they can just talk to you maybe, and you can send us our way.
Yes.
Yes. We are, yeah, so those are, I would say, the main channels where people can get in touch with us. We're always happy to do this kind of things because I think it's important as part of our role of anyone in the community, is the educational part. And, you know, we all working together to make crypto adoption a reality, you know, more and more.
100% correct. So yeah, I will put the links below this video so people can directly reach out to you. I want to thank you a lot for this chat. I personally learned a lot. I hope my viewers did as well. And maybe we can speak in the future as well.
100%. It was a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, and have a great day. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.